One, two, three. Hello, everyone. I hope this conference goes great for everyone who's here. It's been fun so far. Let's make this panel interesting. We'll speak about Web3 gaming and the current state of it, the future outlook, and how to make money. First, let's do a round of introductions from the side.
Hello. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all here. My name is Khvicha. I'm the CEO of Cryptel, which is the Georgia-based crypto exchange. We operate in Georgia and Lithuania. Apart from that, we are now expanding outside of these countries to Turkish markets. Cryptel itself is a part of the Cryptex group, which has been operating in Georgia since 2017. We have started our business with the ATM network. Probably some of you who reside in Georgia have already seen our ATMs across the city, Tbilisi. So we have around 100 machines already across the country. And apart from that, we also have a Cryptex terminal, a product that allows it's a one environment for all trading that you do, so you can connect basically all of your exchanges and do the trade from one environment, and it allows algorithmic trading and stuff like that. And also, apart from all of this, we are also working in different directions, and one of the directions also include blockchain. And we are pretty interested. I'm pretty interested in the industry and the topic myself. So basically, that's it. Thank you.
My name is Filip. I'm a product bid lead at ChainSafe. As I mentioned earlier, ChainSafe is blockchain R&D company based in Toronto, Canada. One of our projects in the company is Web3.Unity, which is a gaming SDK that allows you to interact with blockchain. Other than that, we do many different stuff, protocol implementations, smart contract audits, MetaMask snaps, so yeah, all over the place. Other than the gaming SDK, we are the main contributors to Sigma, which is an interoperability layer that allows you to basically build cross-chain applications and use cases. It's not only an ERC20 or 721 1155 bridge. It basically allows you to call do any custom calls on different chains, and that's basically it.
Hi everybody, my name is Fehmi. I'm part of Arena Games. Arena Games is building a toolkit for game developers that includes the ChainSafe SDKs, by the way, for Unity, as well as everything else, the smart contracts for the NFTs, an NFT marketplace, the minting, as well as consulting for sustainable tokenomics for gaming. So we're here to support game developing studios that are working on specifically mobile PvP games, mobile games that also can allow tournament type games. So that's where we're active in.
Hey, everybody. My name is Maxim Miheyenko. I'm Senior Vice President of 1518 Studios. We're based in headquarters in Los Angeles, California, and we're working on outsourced external development art provider for big IPs such as Roblox, Sandbox, Disney, Bar Gaming, and we're working on a lot of indie startups to support them with animations, art, game design for mobile, consoles, and metaverse stuff. And we're very excited to be here. So many great startups here, and what we are looking for is great metaverse, fresh, new ideas. Thank you so much.
Okay. One. Good. So we hear a lot of PR about GameFi, about Web3 gaming. And the first question that I would like to ask, what is so different between the traditional online games and games built on Web3 paradigm or platforms? What is it that makes this or remakes this into a new wave of activities and funds and attention flowing into this?
Yeah, very great questions. Thank you. For us, main questions here and key is about community, because for online gaming, it's more about gamers, hardcore games, mid-core games, and for Metaverse and Web2, it's more about casual, about everybody. So it's much more wider auditory, and they're looking for much more easy, immersive, fast loading, very easy art graphics that will be open on any devices. And very successful example, it's Sandbox, it's Decentraland, and even Sandbox better, because it's much better and faster to do. So you could create your own universe very fast in 1-2 days, not such as in AAA games, it needs a lot of months, and it's very fast loading and very fast integrate. So key is to make it easy and fun for everybody, not only for gamers. It's from our side. Thank you.
So I would say two things. That's the ownership, first thing, and the second thing is interoperability. To give you an example, so I would like to talk about very prominent example. I think that all of you here already know about Ethereum, and one of the founders of Ethereum, Vitalik. And to give an example of Vitalik, maybe you already know, maybe those who play World of Warcraft already know about this history. So it was, I guess, in 2009 or 10, when Vitalik was around 15 years old, and there was an update or a patch released for the World of Warcraft, after which one of his favorite characters lost some of its strengths. It was because of the decision of the game maker. So they decided to take out this feature of that character, and that day, as the Vitalik said, I was crying all night. So it was when he realized how this centralized game experience can be somehow in the end not very fruitful and not very not very good. So after that we get what? So in 2015 he releases the Ethereum, and what we read in the Ethereum white paper. So it is NFTs that he talks, and the team talks, and it is whole this industry that we are now talking about that was already discussed in 2015 in that white paper. So I would once again emphasize that the difference that the Web3 brings to the gaming industry is that it gives you an ownership. So ownership that allows you to have what you want, and no one gets, no one has ability to somehow weaken your character, or I don't know, whatever. So that's the main thing I wanted to emphasize here.
I agree, but that's, I mean, depends on if you're asking currently or in general. Currently, I think we are only talking about mainly NFTs and tokenization, and the interoperability part is not necessarily there yet. The whole idea is that you're not there's no walled garden, there's no a vendor lock-in. You can move your items, characters, NFTs in between games, in between worlds, in between metaverses we're still not there yet, but that's the idea, and that's like a super cool concept. Also, decentralization, I think, also not there yet. A great possibility, but we're still running on centralized servers, basically like Web2 games. But there are some examples, like Dark Forest, that are completely like on-chain, and data, like mechanics and logics and metadata and everything is on-chain, and that like evolves, like enables us to build completely different types of games that we haven't yet imagined. Also, like more of like protocols, community-built protocols. So I would say decentralization, NFTs, tokenization, and interoperability. But for some, we are not there yet. Of course, we are like really early in this space. So that's why we need more developers to start building here, and that's it basically.
Thanks, Phil. It's hard to come last to this type of question, so I'm not going to repeat what everybody said. I will probably emphasize the ownership, and I would even say the co-ownership, because owning the NFTs, owning characters or game assets is the first step, but co-ownership can also be the players themselves co-own the game or certain parts of the game. So that's something that the Web3 games bring to the table that Web2 cannot. The other thing that Web3 games bring is a new way of like sharing the economy. There's a new economy thanks to Web3 games. Traditionally, the funds would go from the players to the game developers or the publishers. Today, there's a way of circling back the funds that is a little bit broken, I have to admit it, but with proper tokenomics and sustainable tokenomics, there will be a way of really saying that the funds will circulate in a free way, and some project will succeed in doing so, which is something new compared to Web2 games.
So the next question would be about the elements that we're using to build the Web3 platforms, such as blockchain, DAO, NFTs, to allow communications and game assets, etc. So maybe in whatever order or maybe some part of those elements, what would you like to explain to us kind of as the basis what these elements provide to this new movement of Web3 games and how they contribute and what the current state is of this? Or should we start?
I'll start then, okay. Yeah, you mentioned a few elements. I think we can talk about them for hours. I'll pick probably two. The blockchains is what guarantees the immutability of certain things, including the NFTs. So that's a new thing that people are not necessarily all familiar with. I think the crowd here knows what blockchains are, what NFTs are, so I'm not going to dive into that. I'm going to probably tackle the DAOs and the decentralized organizations. There's too many different types of DAOs, but in gaming, there are games who are DAOs, but the most common use of DAOs is for the gaming guilds. The gaming guilds in Web3 thrived lately because of that concept of really being a decentralized organization that lives alone online with multiple types of players. Some would be managers, some would be scholars, some would be content creators, and altogether the DAO thrives and generates a lot of adoption and engagement, and the DAOs became super key in the growth of certain Web3 games. Because if you onboard 2-3 DAOs that they have like 10,000 players, all of a sudden you have 30,000 players, which you would have spent millions of dollars if you wanted to attract them directly in the traditional world. So I think the DAO gaming vehicle is something to really probably dive into and improve in the future, because we're seeing that all kinds of people are creating DAOs, and not all of them are efficient. So I think that will also evolve. It's not necessarily tied to developing games, but it helps develop the games when the DAO also helps test the game. They help add new features. They vote on even the evolution of a game. So that's something that to be considered.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's just coming back to my point earlier. Community, or not community, but games built on chain, probably like mandated DAO. And yeah, as I said, I completely agree with you. That enables like building games in a way that we never imagined before. Like not AAA games, maybe just community games for 20 people or 50 people from like a city, building something, or like playing some RPG or whatever. In order, so decentralization, yes, that's a key part to it. That enables us. That, I mean, there are multiple instances where game developers have screwed. One of the examples was World of Warcraft, but have like insane power, admin rules, and can do whatever they want with basically your game, your in-game currency, or money, or items, and whatever. So immutability part is really key. NFTs as a part of that. I mean, we are still so early. We only see like so small percentage of use cases that could be done. For example, DeFi, combining DeFi and gaming. I don't know if any of you heard about OGame or played OGame like 15 years ago. So that's basically an idea that someone could build a RPG on Web3 combining DeFi elements. That basically, when you go mine a planet, you are actually like staking your tokens or whatever. So getting NFTs in return, then staking them. I mean, there's so many possibilities. So also, like the concept of bridges and bridging the to other networks also explores a couple of new interesting ideas where different like ecosystems can be different, like planets, or not planets, but universes in that game and whatnot. So we've seen some really cool ideas also on our like hackathon. So basically, there are many things: immutability, decentralization, NFTs, cross-chain stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. So what was said, it's important that we are not yet to the fully decentralized games. So it's one of the most important issues that needs to be solved, and that will be the time or the period whenever we make this transition that we can talk that. We are talking about the truly Web3 games, and then if every part of the game can be on the blockchain, of course, blockchain has some limitations itself, yeah, and those limitations are quite difficult to solve. But I believe as we have more developers in the space and as the space itself expands, we should see more of such solutions coming to the market. And yeah, basically what was said. So there are some projects that may be already decentralizing those things that are not yet decentralized, yeah, and we have not yet seen and is not yet heard. And that's the most important thing. I think that that gonna revolutionize this industry as it comes. So, yeah.
Just add a thing. I just want to add that, I mean, we shouldn't decentralize for sake of decentralizing anything. Some things are completely okay to be centralized, and I don't see a future where everything, literally 100% of our tech stack is decentralized. So like there's a spectrum to that. It's not that everything everywhere should be decentralized, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So if there is not issue with centralization, so we don't need the decentralization. So that's the main points that everyone should know, and I totally agree. But there are some elements that can be decentralized, but is not yet there. So yeah, That's it. If the decentralization makes things slow, and that's gonna affect the customer experience, and that we're gonna end up with a product that no one uses. So we don't, of course, we do not want to have like achieve that. So we want to achieve the widespread adoption of the technology in a part that is most effective and of course serves the fundamentals of what was discussed in terms of ownership and so on.
Great stuff here, and I just want to add from art and user interface side that users usually looking for wow fun stuff and easygoing stuff that with very fast and smooth learning curve. And if you could see, for example, stock market apps, Robinhood in States, it's a great example of project who bring stock markets, such as fun elements for a lot of people, Generation Z and more. And in Kazakhstan, great case is application super app Kaspi, and it's such as Robinhood plus Bank of America plus government stuff in one place, very easy, very low, very fast loading, and people love it. And people choose it and use it every day, but it starts as a long learning curve. And same in this situation. So we saw a lot of startups in Web3 gaming, Web3 technologies, and it's still very hard to understood full for usual user and applications and games who will find easy learning curve and will be fast loading, very easy to stuff, great user interface. They will be winners in this next level up because it's still big issue here, as we see.
Thank you. Let's look into what we would recommend to game studio designers and game production in terms of making a shift from closed economy, which is currently used in traditional games, where all assets are controlled inside internally, and making the switch to open economy where there is partial or no control of economics and pretty much flow of the revenue and marketplace. What are the pluses and minuses of the new system, and what are the models that can be used to create those new types of economics and tokenomics inside?
Yeah, from our side, most main recommendation to understood fully your uniquely selling points and your different between your games, your Web2 game, and usual online games or old generation games, to show it's for people very fast and with unique points that will be very clear and transparent for everybody. Because right now, when we ask a startup, please let me know why it's so different with Valorant, with World of Warcraft, with Fortnite, why I should choose your game experience, not AAA games or not old games, why you're better. Sometimes even developers don't know answer, right? And we see that for auditory, for community, they need not just understand, they need fully transparent and clear understood why they should choose your application and why they should spend time and learning curve to understand, to play, and to enjoy this new economy with very clear visibility and responsibilities for your site. So it's great questions to answer.
I'll take. So if we think about why would game developers go from a closed economy to an open one or partially open one, I think your answer is great, by the way, because the main focus of building a new game should be the fun and the entertainment side. The tokenomics, the economy is a secondary focus. A lot of web developer and game developer studios rushed into building like very poor games just to benefit from the Web3 wave in the end. When you're building an economy for a game, it has to be sustainable. The risks, we saw them with early adopters and the first games that went out. They went all the way up and then all the way down, and they created a lot of issues. A lot of people lost their money, a lot of people are still complaining, and the game loses the active users and uses even the engagement of its players. So the idea is really to say, The game has to be fun and entertaining. That's what will bring the players back and have them engaged to play the game every day and wanted to compete. Competition is very important in gaming. It's like sports. So there are casual games that will play for fun, but the games who have competition usually are a good fit with good tokenomics, because then you can use that competition to generate funds from, for example, PvP fees or tournament fees that you can re-inject for the casual players as play to earn. That could be a good mechanism to make sure that you're not constantly minting new tokens to give them to players so they can cash out and create a sell pressure on the token. That's something to keep in mind. There are other mechanisms, but the idea is really not to build a game for the tokenomics of it, build a game for fun, but make sure that the tokenomics are well thought of, because sometimes just the popularity of the game, let's say we have a new game that pays well because people are earning by winning in the game, that's a huge advertising, because the minute people start earning, they will say it on social media, it will bring masses of other people that want to do the same, and then the adoption will go super high, super fast, and then it's going to collapse again, because nothing can just like keep going up to the moon, like we say in the industry. So we need to keep that in mind when we build the tokenomics, and keep in mind that there will be a fast adoption curve, there will be a slowdown, but if it's really well thought for a growth for the future, usually the game should prevail.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, play to earn and play and earn models enable game developers to incorporate some new mechanism designs and think about some new mechanisms designs in games. For example, World of Warcraft again had like an auction house. You could sell items there, you could trade them, but that community and that market was one of the biggest in gaming industry, but still probably nothing comparing to or nothing compared to world economy, or like Web3 NFT economy, because once you enable that, once you allow anyone, even who is not playing the game, like buying NFTs, items, and like skins or whatever, it's a different model, it's a different concept. It has to be thought differently and looked at it differently. So yeah, really big emphasis probably on the mechanism design around like game economy is really key. Yeah, I forgot what to say the other thing, but I remember.
Probably I wouldn't add more because it was all well said. So I would just emphasize one thing is that in part of the competition, so you have to compete with the traditional gaming. So at the same time, so it's one part of it is that you bring the new customers that we are not yet in the gaming sector. For example, like newcomers that just that are not interested in playing for the fun. They want to like play to earn, for example. Yeah, we bring such kind of customers to the table, and the other part is that there are a massive amount of people that are playing for fun, and at the same time we have to market to them and say them that yeah, play for fun plus earn something, and that can be a good incentive for them to think of gaming not only like some part of the games they can play for fun, of course, but for the other part they can spend their time much more effectively, yeah, by earning, for example. And that's the key point that I wanted to emphasize here, is that yet competition is very high, and this competition solely based on the thing that we are using the blockchain technology on a global scale is of course not enough. So that's it.
Just to add, we really need like AAA games or really big gaming companies building Web3 games, because as everyone said, and it's obvious, but user experience really suffers currently, and nobody can like play a game where whenever they take a loot or like whatever, do something, they sign a transaction. That's not like feasible. So there are like even right now some solutions like session keys, but yeah, until I think some very big AAA company comes in, does the like World of Warcraft experience on Web3. Yeah, I think we still like have some time to be there, but that's I think what's needed for mass adoption.
I'll try to go a little bit deeper with play-to-earn games. It's a model that quite easily attracts new audience, and however, it has some minuses in terms of economics. So basically, we see quite short life cycles of those games, making money, and quite quickly the community economy is starting to lose money, for the reason that inflow of the money in play-to-earn, it's pretty much nowhere to take. So basically, if we use Ponzi scheme of users paying at the start of the game, so the older users get the money from the new coming users, and at some point this pyramid ends. Sooner or later it ends. So if we're looking at this model, are there derivatives that we can capitalize on the community that we're building on these models, or should we only go into kind of shifting to more fun games and kind of dropping play to earn completely? Or a third option, is there a choice of how we can recapture those users into additional monetization schemes, into additional models? So can you elaborate on kind of those? What is closer to you? What you like the best in designing the games, and where it might go?
Yeah, from our side, we're still in the beginning of this economy field, because a lot of projects that we saw and that we played, I really don't understood why people should pay here and why they should receive money. And I'm waiting for big announce from Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook Meta. They want to spend more than $10 billion for Metaverse, and we're looking for some projects from Disney and Netflix, because if it will be such a big IP, for example, Harry Potter, Game of the Thrones, Star Wars, it makes sense for me to spend some money because I'm a big fan of this universe. I want to be part of this, and it's maybe really need to spend money here. But if we are looking for some indie startups or new IP without so deep universe, it's very big question here about economics still. It's maybe such a pyramid, right? But how to find economies that really will go and go for cycles and cycles? It's a question for economists in Harvard, Oxford, Stanford, everywhere right now. So, and again, we see that a new generation of virtual reality, Oculus, new Oculus, PlayStation, virtual reality helmet 2, and a lot of stuff from HTC, maybe with new field, with new immersive, for me, in virtual reality world, it will make sense to spend money. Because right now, even, we talked with a lot of AAA game developers in States and Canada, and it's very hard to motivate person to pay for full price AAA games right now. Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty Vanguard, new FIFA, a lot of games. It's really amazing, but it's still very same. And people right now very unfocused, because I see Netflix serials every day, Xbox Game Pass, very cheap, a lot of gaming, TikTok, Instagram, Fortnite, free-to-play game, and still this is new field, Web3 all game. But my money and my attention, it's very, very expensive right now. It's very rare to spend my energy and time. And it's questions for everybody developer. It should be much more fun that I need to spend money. Because right now you can spend $10, only $10 for Xbox Game Pass, and received 100 best games in the world. Why I should spend even more than $10 here if I will receive more? But please tell me how. So it's, yeah.
I'll probably go.
With regards to the play to earn model, so I would say that for some time, so when it was very popular, it helped to grow the community of people that, you know, before that we didn't even hear about what was the wallet or what was the blockchain and so on. So especially in Georgia, I will give you an example in Georgia. So a couple of months ago, it was very important, a very popular game, the Step-In. So most of the Georgian users, outside of streets, you will see a lot of Georgians running a whole day to earn some money, and you know, after that the market grew a lot. From my perspective, because I run a crypto exchange, and I saw a lot of you know, demand on the crypto side, and also the people trying to educate themselves about the crypto and blockchain and how the stuff worked. So it helped to grow the market. Of course, there's a question of sustainability of the economy of the game. The question, of course, and this issue, of course, is there, and I think that it's very hard for these types of games to build a very sustainable economy and a very well thought economy in the long term. So yeah, that's something I'm personally looking forward to see, and yeah, basically that's that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's something wrong with like play to earn or play and earn or play like whatever models that allows you to monetize your time spent in game and items and whatnot. I just think that the financial like possibilities there are endless, and comparing to Web2 games, and so that's why the responsibilities on developers, game developers. The responsibility is way higher than it was or it is in Web2 gaming, because we've seen many different like also examples in Web2 where token or not token but financial or model mechanism design inside the game was broken and exploited. Again, World of Warcraft, many different like servers had different economies, different types, different items were priced different, or same items were priced differently across different servers. There are some different game examples of economies that literally collapsed and ruined the game. So it's the same in Web3. Nothing changes other than the system. The whole game is way more complex, and that's why game devs should really understand what they're trying to introduce, the new economy model of the game, and be aware of that. That's it.
I'm going to go back to a concept that was in the question, which is, I'm going to summarize it with the word fundsonomics. So if the economy of the game relies on constantly having new players coming in to inject their funds that will be redistributed as play to earn money, that's flawed. That's a big problem, and that's probably the biggest problem of a very young industry today. A lot of people rushed just to benefit from that pyramid, and we call it like pulling the rug in the end, because you just like use the early adopters to attract masses, and then when the masses come in, like it starts dropping, and then you're out. But that problem, I think, is going to disappear by itself because people know about it today. I'm thinking also, people like to compete. So when I play poker with my friends, if I put money to play poker, the game is really more interesting. If I play poker for free, I'm always all in. I don't care. It's not the same game. So for me, when you're playing a video game against someone else and one of the two players is winning, it doesn't make sense that the reward comes out of thin air from like minting new tokens. So I believe that, for example, if I play against Filip, I put 10 tokens, he puts 10 tokens, the winner takes 18, the system takes 2. That's a more interesting model where we have skin in the game, both of us, and we will play. Why does the system need to take 2 tokens? Because if I play constantly against Filip and he's better than me, and I'm always losing, so I'm also losing money, losing motivation, I get frustrated. So if the system can maybe compensate the regular players, the most engaged players, by airdropping them some tokens to keep them engaged from that system reserve or from that game reserve, that also becomes a more sustainable model. So we're constantly we're rewarding the best players, the ones who compete the best, but we're not necessarily an elitist type of game. We're also compensating people who are engaged with the game, who keep coming back because they like the gameplay, for example. That's more sustainable than just like having people injecting funds up front and then using that Ponzi scheme type of approach.
Okay, thank you. We have only 3 minutes left. Let's try to squeeze in maybe, hopefully, 2 questions. First question, we all here, given the new types of economy of Web3, can be investors. What would you recommend to do or to look into in terms of how to multiply our money in GameFi? What would be, I don't know, the strategy, the hints, or some tip where to look for?
Yeah, find small niche for very small audience that you love and that you really want to find new solution. Small niche, small audience, but great solution here. It's much better to make new cheap Valorant for small budget for unknown audience.
I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't know how to answer that question, but just kidding. But basically, yeah, I mean, I have no recommendations on you earning money in on gaming.
It's a tough question for me too. I'm not here to give financial advice. I would say focus on the fun part. Before Web3, people spent thousands of dollars on games because they liked them, and that's the most important thing. So today, if you can invest in a game, make sure that it's something that you believe in, something that you like, something that you will support, and if there are revenues, why not? That's how I would approach it.
So I just decided to join. So I also thought that, I think that I can give you financial advice. But the one thing that I want to say is that we have to spend our times well. So and think about whether we play for fun or we play to monetize our time. So it depends on our approaches and. Time is always money, so we have to think about this. And from this perspective, then we can choose whatever we can do, either play or either rest. So that's it. Thank you.
And the last question before we wrap up. What's the next big, interesting, promising project that you would recommend Googling, looking into?
From my side, I'm always looking for new updates for Sandbox. Please see how they're working with community, how they're working on the new episodes, how they're working internally about motivation people, how they're looking about mission of their company. So I really trust them. I'm excited to see. And if it will be new big Apple in this field, I will be more than happy. And it will be okay because they're really looking and they're very immersive about what they're doing.
Yeah, also Sandbox came first to my mind, so I'm also looking forward to that. So and seeing the Sandbox to be the the future of all this that we are talking today, and it's really it has proved to be like yet till now to be successful, and I hope personally that it will be also very successful in the future, and let's see.
Yeah, I don't have like a specific project to recommend, but I'm really looking forward to seeing more fully on-chain games being built that we mentioned earlier. So, as I said, more like a community protocols than games. That's the thing that I'm most interested in.
Personally, I think the sandbox is probably one of the leaders and will stay as a leader. But I'm looking forward to seeing one of the AAA games jumping in the industry. And we know for sure that they're all playing with it. They're all developing stuff. They're just waiting for the first one to do it, and they will all jump in. So, and I believe we might see something towards the end of this year. So, hoping that AAA games will come into the ecosystem.
Great. Thank you, guys. You've been wonderful. Thank you.